That's fair. That's
All right.
that's fair. That's fair.
You know,
Are you guys ready to go?
I'm stuck here.
Okay, this meeting is being held in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Annual notice of this meeting was published in the Union County Local Source and the Newark Star Ledger. Said notice was posted in the municipal building and a copy is on file with the office of the Borough Clerk. Fire exits are located in the directions I'm indicated. If you were alerted for a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Signorello.
Here.
Councilman Ravina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here.
Councilman Patel. Mayor Signorello.
Please lead us in the opening prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there are no communications for review this evening. There are no proclamations or presentations for this evening. May I have a motion to approve meeting minutes pending any corrections?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you want to come speak, you may do so now. State your name and address for the record. And for those of you who haven't been here before, you have 5 minutes.
Joshua Regan, 231 Sherman Avenue. I'm talking about resolution number 187-25, directing the layoff of 5 employees within the Department of Public Works, and resolution number 188-25. Obviously, I only got rights for 187, so I know you guys don't want to talk about that. I signed it. I absolutely want to talk about that in public, not closed session. So, in all honesty, I don't understand why this only came through after there were so many problems with the building brought to light. So I did the math. With 6 employees, it only comes out to $600,000 with benefits. You're paying all of us, basically. So 1.4 million, 800,000. Why don't you start, if you start putting that into a building, you can start approving it. And then you don't have to do everything at once, but you can do all the major areas that you go through. It would make more sense to keep it in-house, people who care. When you go to another town, and I'm not saying it's going to be like this, but I want you guys to think about this. When you go to another town, you're not getting the same people. You're getting people from another town. When you have people who lived in this town, grew up in this town, they care about this town. You can't guarantee that with other towns. Just think about that.
Thank you. Did you want me to respond? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, so, I mean, look, we have done the math on this, and I'll defer to Ken for the exact math, right? But we do feel like this is going to be a savings, right? I mean, Ken, am I right or wrong? Sure, 100%. I'll show you the math. The numbers for the current... I know a lot of you guys haven't been here before, but if you want to come up and speak, you can come up and speak when your turn, okay? Thank you. Sure.
So you did the math. So instead of investing in this town and investing in the workforce, you'd rather invest in someone else's workforce in their town.
Look, the purpose of a shared service is to get economies of scale, right? With another town, we share equipment. We get the benefits of sharing equipment. We share a workforce.
How many years would it be before you see any savings?
We'll see savings next year. Because the aggregate amount of the Department of Public Works, all the employees, all the benefits, and all of the contracts that we have are less than we're paying Kenworth. It's simple math.
We have to go without giving them the equipment.
That's once again, thank you. Yeah.
So, listen,
Who are you anyway?
there's a name tag right here, sir. It says,
You live in town?
okay, sir,
You live in town?
sir,
You don't live in town, that's what I figured.
Sir,
You're a puppet to them.
Sir?
You're the lawyer that's gonna do whatever he wants to do.
Borough attorney.
sir,
Same.
Borough attorney.
I sit up here, I look
Sir?
at people here, it's sad,
sir,
sad.
sir,
Cinderella's, I can't even believe it. Your
Sir.
Your father's in his grave, man.
Please,
Listen,
please.
clown stuff.
sir. Sir, so my job as the borough attorney is to make, yeah,
Got
all right?
it, got
Another one getting paid
it.
out
Right
of my
next
tax
to the
dollars.
mayor.
All right, so there are certain rules and procedures on how a meeting has to occur, all right? One of my jobs is to make sure those rules are done, all right? There's a microphone, you get 5 minutes, and you get 5 minutes, all right? But it's not respectful to the man who's here now to yell over him, because then his point isn't heard. Fair enough? Right, fair enough?
Bless you.
Right, so,
Yelling over him, we're with them.
again, one person speaking at a time makes life easier. This way, everyone gets heard, everyone gets the same respect, everyone gets treated the same. All right? Otherwise, it becomes disruptive, and then nothing gets accomplished and no one's heard.
Apologize.
All right? I accept the apology. Thank you, sir. You still have some time left. If you have other things you'd like to say, feel free.
All right, so I was asking before, I was trying to, I think he was asking, I know he knows you're the attorney, but I wanted to know what your name was.
Sure. Joe DeMarco, DeMarco.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
I think that's what the comment was for. Yes. That's all I had to say, Paul.
Thank you. Oh, right there. Yep.
Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Flynn. I'm a resident of West Webster, over the apartment complex, buildings and yards. And with the numbers compiling and a pre-existing question as to replacing the building for personnel and equipment, was it ever in the drawing board for a office trail that could have been piped right into the existing sewer system to mitigate the existing building problem for the employees, which would be a substantial difference in monetary expenditure, and also erect a steel building for the housing and the working on of the equipment as far as the trucks are concerned. So I'm not saying you did or didn't, but as an option that could be for new construction, permits, foundation breaking and all that other stuff, there are multiple ways to save 6 figures with something that would durate for at least 10 or 15 years on the same scale. So, all I have to
Yeah, so thank you for your question. Look, the history of the buildings, right, we're talking specifically about the buildings. Before my term, there was, I believe, $3.2 million bonded for a new DPW building, right? Mayor and council at that time went out to bid. I think the bids came back, lowest was $5 million, right? When I came into office, and this is pre-pandemic, right, pre all the massive inflation, we went back out to bid with a completely pared down project, right? Like pretty much prefab buildings, right? Like very, very simple structures. The lowest bid I think we still had was $7 million right at the time. And you know, it is more, I'm not, this is not my field, right? I'm in technology, not in construction, but we are beholden to pay prevailing wage, right? We can't just do it like, you know, some private corporation, so that increases the costs, right? We have to purchase things through state-certified vendors, right? So that increases the costs. I can't tell you, sir, why it was so expensive when it came back, but I can tell you in good faith that we worked with our engineers to significantly scale back the scope of the project, and the quotes we got were still astronomical. Yep.
my son, and even worse than that, my job should hurt my family. It hurts. I respect most of you up here, always have, you know me. Volunteering has always been a part of my family. It turned out to be, hey, Josh is going to get a job. It was great. It was really good. And we were so proud. And then things, over time, unravel. It happens. But I would have expected superior thinking on this film to overcome these roadblocks and solve them in a way that the fabric of this town remain unaffected and strong. I don't know where this is going to go. You know, we're all friends. This is going to put a little bit of fire between us. I apologize in advance. That's what we can do. But if there was a way that we could figure out a chat, conversation, not just a here,
Yep.
maybe there's a better solution than turning it over to a town may have its own employees who may not in turn really regard us for what we value ourselves. There's homeborn Parkers, you know, we've been here for 39, almost 40 years ago. We love this town. Everything. They're all here. That's beautiful, but it's not that. It's that. It's the devotion. It's the core. Now, and everybody feel Roselle Park is something special. Do that. As I feel. And I'm disappointed that this even got so far. I understand you can't stop the world very easily, but maybe you can.
Thank you, Jeff.
It has recently come to my attention that in the Department of Public Works on the grounds there has been a finding of asbestos and other potentially harmful material, and I would like to address that. I want to say that it is, I think the health and safety of the people and citizens of this town should be our number one priority, and as a town, it would benefit us greatly to put that first, and I feel like we will likely get sued as this is a gigantic OSHA violation, and it should have been checked beforehand before any new construction had been done to make sure that it is a safe environment for people to work on and just be around. Because asbestos is an extremely cancerous material, and another substance was found that was apparently black and oily. And that begs the question of whether any other workplaces in town have this issue. And the citizens of this town very much well be at jeopardy, and we could be a lawsuit, and I don't think I want to see that happen.
Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, Ryan, I'm sorry.
It's on.
Just pull it
Pull
a
it
little
closer.
closer to you.
Well, nobody can hear back there either, so I'm going to speak loud. Good evening. So throughout this week, I've been on the forums, the mayor's post, the Councilman Johnson's post. Ryan Urban, 1901 Elizabeth Ave, Rahway, New Jersey. And I've seen many comments, and I haven't seen any, not one, maybe one, that were in favor for getting rid of our DPW. And, you know, the point of mayor and council is to come in, go back to your wards, have residents call you, reach out on Facebook, what have you, and you guys come here and you vote on it, right? It's not just you guys, right? And I'm friends with many of you guys, absolutely. And, you know, you and I, we spoke on the phone.
It's all good, Ryan.
And, you know, these men have families to go home to, kids in college. One guy has a sick father. I worked at the DPW. I've watched people go.
And I've busted my back for this town. I've volunteered for this town. And there are 3 gentlemen that were a part of that DPW that volunteered for the fire department and wrote calls during this town. And you told me you did everything for the fire department. You respected us. Your father's been on the fire department. And here we are. They're backdoored. So now Kenilworth's going to come in, and, we're going to have a major storm. And I saw branches all over town today. And obviously Kenilworth's going to take precedence, because then their mayor is going to be up and at 'em.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 6 gentlemen that know this town well, know this building well, know all our facilities well, wrote on the fire department, and they're gone. And Kenilworth didn't agree, as you said in your article, to hire them. So they're guaranteed an interview. Now, I have a question for the council. So if they're guaranteed an interview and they do get hired in Kenilworth, do they go back to starting pay?
I honestly don't know.
So we didn't look into this?
It depends. It depends on. It depends on. It depends on how they're hired, right?
If you could get back to me on that.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and then I also saw that, the building needs a lot of repairs, right?
Sure,
And
yeah.
we don't have the money for it, right?
Yep.
Why do we spend $900,000 on a parking lot? I'm sorry.
Sure. 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 Sure.
That's all I got for you. Have a good night.
Cool. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to answer everything, but I do want to dispel a couple things, right? So, look, on a personal note, right? Like, this is not fun. Letting go of people is never fun, right?
I can tell it's not.
But we work in the best interest. We work and make decisions on what we think is the best interest for 14,000 people.
But
right?
look what you did to some of our residents.
I understand. I understand, Ryan. Yep.
I'm on a timer.
Yeah, go for it.
But some of our residents just got laid off of their jobs.
I understand. But that doesn't mean all the residents disagree with it, right? And I can tell you anecdotally, right, if you want to talk about Facebook, I've gotten calls for legalizing marijuana. I've gotten calls for apartments. I've gotten calls for a whole bunch of things. I haven't got one email. I haven't got one call on this.
Have you been on the forums?
Yeah, the forums are this.
I know.
It's the same people.
Councilwoman.
It's the same people who constantly take a dump on me are on the forum. So what else is new there? But the other thing I really want to say, because this is a very important operational thing, right? So we're going to have a sub-department that services Roselle Park, right? Which is actually going to be larger than the workforce that we have now. It's going to be 9 people, right? So in an emergency, right, people keep talking about snowstorm happens, this happens, that happens. We're not going to be operating with the same staffing that Kenilworth has.
So how many will we have? Because I know 2.
It'll be 9.
Okay,
9.
and one's a mechanic,
Yep.
and one's going to be a superintendent, correct?
No.
So what's the other one?
So there's going to be a work, well, again, there's subject to how Kenilworth
So
does it.
how many did we
but
have up until the last gentleman left? We had 7, correct? We're laying off 6?
What is it? Yes.
So what's one more guy going to do? I'm just curious.
It's not one more guy, it's
Well,
3 more guys.
The mechanic's going to be in the garage.
Right.
And there was another guy.
Does the mechanic plow snow when the snow comes?
According to the contract, I don't think he should. And when a truck goes
Past
down,
practices, have they not? Or have they
well,
not?
when a truck goes down, he's in the garage fixing it. So he's not out there.
Okay. So my point is even if you're saying, okay, whatever, what's one more guy going to do? It's not one more guy. It's a full complement of 9, right? In a situation where there is an emergency, where this is Sandy or something like that, let's be very honest, right? There will be a staff for Roselle Park, there will be a staff for Kenilworth, but Ryan, you've been through these things. At what point have we ever had enough guys when we've had that bad of an issue that we haven't had to pull in other help?
Exactly. And now you're
Right, so by that logic, I'm supposed to have a staff of 30 people for year round. Yeah. Thank you.
So let's be prepared.
Right, and we'll fix the taxes too that way. Yep. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Over here, sir, please.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Malone, 6 East Sumter Avenue, Roselle Park. I came here actually to speak about something as I've spoken to.
Can you speak closer to the mic, sir?
I actually had came to speak about something else and realized when I was on my way the subject matter of what's taking place. I've spoken to Andrew and numerous times and Congressman Johnson. So my first issue, before I get to this second issue with the laying off of employees at Public Work Department, my sewer bill. If we have and look, I have put my life on the line for this country, so I'm here to speak, and I could speak my life on this line for this country.
Absolutely.
Saying, look,
Is there anything on the sewer bill on the agenda?
why can't I speak on the sewer bill?
Because there's two public
Sir,
portions.
sir.
No.
I have the right to speak as a person, that as a taxpayer, and as a
Go for
human
it.
being here
Go
in
for it.
Roselle.
Got it. Yep.
I have
Go
that
for
right.
it. Okay.
Now,
Sure.
if you have a bill,
Yes.
if we're being paid, if we're paying a bill,
Yep.
we should have a breakdown of this bill,
Yep.
right? Where's the breakdown on these bills? Where's the breakdown?
Printed on there.
No, it's not.
The units time the
Sir,
per unit
sir,
price.
Sir, what are we paying for? Water usage for what? How much water usage is being used? Where's the breakdown on the bill? You're giving us a bill. So if you look at the gas company, there's a breakdown on the electricity that's being used during a period of time.
Yep.
There is breakdown of the whole bill. What is the breakdown on the sewer bill? Look, again, we sit here in a bad time country-wise, period. And you guys are billing individuals, and when they confront and ask questions about the bill or anything, they're being stonewalled. Second, Andrew, people have to feed their family, man. You guys talk about the Public Works Department. I've had issue with you guys, and I had to come to you and the congressman about putting a garbage can on my sidewalk and about cutting a tree down in front of my house that was probably getting ready to fall on my house. And you didn't take care of it, Mr. Andrew. You definitely did. I've had good encounters with you. People have to feed their family. We're living in a very bad time. You're saying that, I just heard you make an explanation to someone about the pricing and the budget. $1 million you're giving to Kenilworth.
Yep.
What was the payroll for the 6 individuals that you had per year? And if the bill is less than that, how is it logical to all of the minds that are sitting here that that is a logical thing to do? I'm just curious, how is that logical? How?
Once again, sir, the math is that with all the payrolls, with all the benefits, with everything else we pay, when you look at the total package plus the contracts, it is more expensive to keep our Department of Public.
What is you're saying? Hey, listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying.
Yep.
You're saying that it is more expensive. You gave us a figure for the number that you're paying Kenilworth. Give us a figure for the number that is the payment for the 6. What is the number? What exactly is the number?
Ken, what's the total right now? He's our CFO. What a peach. Yeah.
Sir.
Excuse me? Class act. Yeah, class act. Mm-hmm. Yep. Super. Yep.
Sir, Eddie, please, sir,
Class.
go in your shut up.
Please. Come out.
Be immature.
Can we get him out of here?
Be immature. You're immature. You're immature.
Everyone, please calm down. Everyone, please calm down. Can we just please calm down?
Immature.
Calm down.
Councilman.
Calm down.
Stop. Yeah.
Are you retired? What are you here for, money?
Sir, please.
You're retired. Go away.
We got a mayor that didn't even run a brush
Sir.
there before he came here.
Sir.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not here to insult anyone.
Okay.
Okay? I'm not here to insult anyone. I'm trying to get facts here.
Look like when they came out of bed.
Embarrassed.
All right. So, sir.
Be embarrassed.
Sir. Sir.
Is that?
Excuse me. Over here. You got to calm down, please.
Listen, I've been in this town for 50
No, I understand. I understand. I understand, but you're not helping anyone.
You got Paul DeVito's friggin'
This is not helping anyone.
What'd you do?
Sir,
He died.
The guy
And you're at his wake like.
sir,
Cut his
You
family
see,
off.
how do you even sleep
Cut his
at night?
family off. and
Sir.
cut
That's
the-
embarrassing.
sir,
What?
The guy died.
Sir.
Brain cancer. What do you got?
Sir.
You got nothing.
Sir.
This
You
sad.
sat next to me across the table.
All right, so
Paul DeVito.
You're
Think
getting-
about that. Every night you go to bed, Paul DeVito.
Sir, I haven't had to do this in 7 years. If you do not stop, we're removing you. It's that simple. Yes, I can.
I don't care.
Okay,
you-
great.
you are being disruptive to the public meeting.
I'm here every Thursday and every Tuesday.
Oh,
You're more than welcome to.
I'm gonna follow Signorella building, see what's going on with that place, because I'm sure that's got a lot of shit
All right,
going on there.
so, sir,
Glad.
Sir.
I'm glad you're going to follow me.
Said that, and he's on the board, you're on the board, Signorella's, the town shit, all this bullshit. It's sad, man.
all right, sir,
What about the town? Move on. Let some other people take care of the town.
Mr. Andrew,
What's your deal anyway? I don't even know.
All right.
What's your
That's
stake
it.
in it?
What is
Sir.
your state? Oh, your son?
Sir.
Daddy ball.
all right, thank you, sir.
I'm either gonna leave or I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna fight.
So, sir, I need you
Councilman.
to...
Councilman, stop.
Is that a
It's enough.
realtor? That's your fucking thing?
Sir,
Fucking bullshit.
sir, if you can leave and calm down, I'd appreciate it. You can come back if you calm down, sir.
You know what? I feel bad for you guys. All the places. Because you guys are probably gonna be next. They don't care. You know what it's about?
Because we
It's
don't
about
have
the
a
money.
911 in
You know what? You guys claim you're Democrats.
When I go to the police station and I get somebody arrested,
What's that?
I don't claim to be a Democrat. You know what? I talked to the guys at what's called, the guys doing the downtown. You know what he told me? He wishes he was the DV.
Sir, sir, please.
He'll get health benefits. You know what he gets? He gets zero. And you guys sit here and say you're about to.
Great.
You're about people. You ain't about to murder people.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wayne? Wayne, if you would like to finish? Ma'am, please.
I don't want to say nothing.
Ma'am, please.
again, I'm not
Please.
here
Just let
to
Mr.
to
Wayne finish,
disrespect
please.
anyone. I think that by the reaction of people in the audience, you see the effect of the situation that it has brought on. Look, Andrew, Congressman Johnson, we live in an era and time where people have to feed their family. And we have to be more considerate about the way we are handling and dismissing folks. Again, look, man, this township has a problem with PW in terms of employees, in terms of the lack of employee there for that it always had, right? But to take these employees now and send the jobs over to Kenilworth, I think is a bad decision. Again, I would like to know at some point, and if it doesn't have to be here, Andrew, a breakdown on my sewer bill. I don't have a problem and an issue with paying what I'm supposed to pay. Let me see in black and white
Can we provide that for the man?
what I'm paying for. That's what I would like to know.
Yes,
Can-
it's online. It's in the adopted
I
budget
don't,
in the
but
source section.
wait a minute, why gotta be online? You don't
Okay,
send your-
we have
you send
to,
your
we have to cut this time off at some point. Look, sir, you can either set up time with the finance department or come by or email me and we'll set up a time to walk you through it, okay?
You know, look, again, I'm just asking some questions again, and back to the employee situation, Andrew, you have to, you guys, I don't know if you guys could reconsider. Maybe, you know, you talk about them going for interviews for the jobs in Kenilworth. How about just making some deal in this progress and just giving them work in Kenilworth, just adding them to the staff so they could continue to feed their family. We are living in hard times and people need their jobs. You guys know that. You guys have family. You guys know.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, I'm John DeVito. I just first want to start this off with, I really didn't want to have to
Address,
come
John.
up here. What's
Just
that?
need your address, John. Sorry.
5 High Street, 3 Bridges, New Jersey.
Thank you, sir.
I'm a former employee here and resident. But I didn't want to have to come up here, but I feel like I need to now. Good evening, Roselle Park. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John DeVito. I was born and raised here in Roselle Park. I met some amazing families over the years from school, sports, even through my years of working at the DPW. Being part of the DPW in the town I grew up in, I felt a sense of pride of where I was always able to help the community that I was brought up in. And for those of you who don't know, my family and I, we have always been the type to help others before ourselves, on the clock and off the clock. Look around this room, and I will guarantee you many people agree with me on that. I had the pleasure of working with my father in the last years of my career at the Roselle Park DPW. My father had left the Union County Parks and Rec heavy equipment operator's position to come here at Roselle Park DPW to work alongside his son and to be closer to home, to be there for my mother in case of an emergency. To continue to help everyone in Roselle Park, but on another level. I ultimately left the DPW for two reasons. One, I would ask over the years to be sent to classes to educate myself with equipment, whether if it was the CCTV truck, which cameras your sewers, which I had to learn on my own. I had videoed all of Roselle Park sewer systems to find out later that I'm assuming they're being used to help sell the sewer system. Or whether it was going to Arbor School to become the next bucket truck operator. I was shut down by management at the time. And the other reason, which is tied to the first, I did not feel appreciated for my commitment and willingness to learn more to move up in the department. Every storm, every sewer call, every town event from the Christmas tree lighting to the Halloween on Bender. To the last snowstorm, I worked 3 to 4 days straight without going home to help open the streets of Roselle Park. Even after I put my 2 weeks notice in, supervisor at the time said something to me, and it stuck with me. And it was that I was better than this place and that I needed to get out because things didn't look good there. And in my head, it really confused me because the entire time I wanted to better myself to benefit for the town. The last year of my family's lives have been nothing but a nightmare, the wildest of roller coaster rides. Times of our lives that should have been nothing but the greatest times. Nothing but nightmares. My father got hit in the head in July, setting up for the 4th of July fireworks, not knowing it was going to be his last day at work. A couple days later, he realized he didn't feel well and went to the doctor and found out he had a brain bleed from one side to the other. As that roller coaster ride was over, the doctor shared with us they discovered a tumor and had to be operated on as soon as possible. July 8th, my father had his operation. They removed the tumor the size of a peach to the best of their ability. Tumor ended up being cancer called glioblastoma, and it was grade 4. My father is the strongest man I know, and I mean to date. He worked so hard through the months of rehab and being continued to get knocked back down and have other operations and get right back to rehab and beginning treatment, all while missing his grandson's baptism, his son and daughter-in-law's baby shower. We watched my father slowly become weaker and weaker. My brothers and I, along with our significant others, had to do what we had to do to take family leaves from work to try to help in every way possible, along with being there for my mother, who did not leave his side from day one. After 9 operations and months away from home, the doctors wanted to do 2 more operations, but said there would be no more quality of life. So we had to make the most difficult decision as a family, and my dad was put on hospice on November 14th. My father ultimately passed on November 24th, and this still does not feel real. Through those months of everything going on, I've heard rumors of the DPW, and I've held them back from my family so that we could focus on my father. I really did wish none of these rumors were true because I had faith in the community that the right thing would have been done. But it looks to me that these rumors are true with facts, and I've had to bring this up to my family, not only because of the concern of my father, what happened to my father, but the fact that I also worked there and was given the same tasks as my father and many others. I cannot express how concerned I am with the health and for the future, because I do not need my life cut short due to the negligence of others. I want my wife and son, I have 3 more sentences, please.
Go for it. Yep.
I want my wife and son to have me around like my father was there for me. You councilmen and women that are up there, I really hope you can do the right thing tonight by the people of Roselle Park and your past and current employees and help those who've helped you.
Thank you. Name and address, sir.
Good evening. Mill Woodruff, 134 Bender Avenue, Roselle Park. My comments pertain to the DPW initially. And it just seems like your numbers, quite frankly, do not articulate. Whether we're talking about 6 people that are on our payroll or the 9 that they're going to hire, why was it not possible to at least have these 6 people that were part of our DPW may become part of the Kenilworth team as well, with experience? And now they're going to go out and hire 9 people, and you got people here that know what they're doing, and really, with a number of years of service, gave the town the best they can. Makes no sense to do that, and to pay them Kenilworth $1.4 million for what? For 6 or 9 people. The numbers don't articulate. It just makes no sense. And one of the other questions posed is about the storage. The storage thing has been a nightmare from the word go. From the time in which we had the suit with
Do we have anything
Elizabeth,
on the agenda?
the suit with Elizabeth, and went up settling that.
Go ahead.
And we got $3 million back from the state to help take care of that.
Yes.
And we used that money to pay Elizabeth off.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, our sewer bill went up almost double what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We were told somewhat that we were going to get some sort of an adjustment on our bill.
Yep.
But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And there's still problems with our bills this year.
Is it a question?
Well, the question pertains to, are we going to get any money back on our sewer bill?
Yeah, so I'll repeat what I said last meeting. So we did get the $3 million from the state. The $3 million from the state didn't come until late December, which means that it was not possible in last year's fiscal year to give people money back. So that funding went to the budget for this year, which enabled our budget to go from $10, what's the metric, $10 per 4? 8 to 5. So it was 4 before the sewer lawsuit. It went up to 8 last year, and then it went back down to 5 this year. So the sewer rate is lower than it was last year. That $3 million went to go lowering the sewer bill. Now, some people saw a different sewer bill. Some people saw higher ones. Some people saw lower ones because we also changed the way it was calculated. We went from the calculation from 12 months a year to 3 months a year to try and be fair to the people who use water for their pool and lawn.
What happened to all that money that was from last year, though?
What about last year?
And what happened to the money from last year?
We had to pay, so the total settlement was $4.6 million?
$4 million.
Sorry?
That's $4 million.
$4 million, right? So we only got $3 million in state aid, so we paid
But you said
a portion of that last year.
you settled for 3. You didn't pay him 4.
What was the final settlement?
We paid the first installment of the agreement at the time.
Right.
The money that we received from the state paid the renegotiated rate to Elizabeth.
Yeah,
So any money that we took in last year was ultimately paid out based on the bills that we received, not only from Elizabeth, but from the 2 sewer authorities that we paid to for treatment, the capital improvements on those sewer authorities that were assessed. So it's not just the Elizabeth issue that drove the cost last year, although it was the most noticeable.
The other thing is we also still, until we disconnect, we have an ongoing fee to pay to Elizabeth.
Clear last year.
I would, Mr. Woodruff, I would say in part because everyone was rightfully focused on the Elizabeth issue, which ultimately got renegotiated.
A little clarity would help.
Thank you.
And why was it possible to have the 6 people from the DPW become part of this shared services?
Because it's not a merger. It's not a merger. It's a shared service with Kenilworth as the lead.
George Ramirez, 500 East Clay Ave. A couple questions. So Ken Blum took in a $60,000 raise last year for this shared services agreement that we previously had when we did have a DPW. Now that we don't have a DPW, is he giving that $60,000 back?
He's still working CFO for both towns.
So even though we don't have a DPW, it's a totally different agreement that we had last year?
How does one have anything to do with the other? One's a shared service for the finance department, the other is a shared service for the Department of Public Works.
Well, it was a shared service agreement. It was a totally different agreement that we used to have.
Once again,
One was for the CFO services, and this one is for DPW services.
Okay.
So they're two different departments that do two different things.
Second question, you said that we're paying 1.4 to Kenilworth.
yep.
What guarantee do we have that that's not going to change?
We have a stipulation in the agreement that if there's any significant cost one way or the other, that we'll negotiate it, or, we have the right to terminate if we need to. We can also go to arbitration if we need to. Huh?
So, I mean, going by what you've done in the past with like Neglia Group and all of these things, just as an example, you
Yep.
hired Neglia Group for 510 Chestnut Street, where it started off at $13,000 for them to do their redevelopment plan.
Yep.
And now we're up to like $30,000.
Yes. Again, these are apples and oranges, right? So should that happen, right, then a developer ends up paying us those costs.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about where
It does
says-
if you're saying we're incurring costs, but
So
okay.
the resolution says in an amount not to exceed 13,000. So it's not to exceed 13, but then you come out with another resolution.
Yeah.
That changes that amount.
Once again, so let's just say we spend $30,000. If somebody ends up developing it, then a developer comes in and pays those fees.
I'm bringing this back to the DPW. So right now
I don't
you're
see how
saying
you are, but go ahead.
1.4.
Yep.
Right now you're saying 1.4. So
Yep.
what's to say that in 2 months from now, another resolution comes out and says, it's 1.8?
Because it's a legally binding agreement?
But you could come out with another resolution to change that, correct? Just like you changed
No,
the
no,
Neglia
no,
Group.
and just like anything, please, go ahead, Andrew. Yeah.
I just want to bring clarity. So,
All right.
I'm sorry, George.
Can I finish my
Yeah.
statement? I don't need my 5 minutes. So on Tuesday, you guys had the redevelopment agreement for 510 Chestnut Street. You had Neglia Group, who's supposed to be an expert, say that the current Board of Education building is up for redevelopment because the sewer is 50-plus years old.
Okay.
Against Superior Court cases that have come before that, I brought that up. She said it's not only that the sewer is 50-plus years old, but it's also the fact that there's no handicap ramp at the Board of Ed building now,
Okay.
which, if you look here, there's a huge handicap ramp in the back of the Board of Ed building.
Okay.
So supposedly an expert.
Not on the agenda tonight, so there's nothing I could do about it.
No, this is part of the redevelopment plan, which is part of the.
The
is-
Department
is
of
on the
Public Works
agenda.
somehow?
Huh?
It's part of the Department,
No,
it's
I'm
not on the
talking
agenda,
about-
but
no, I'm
okay.
talking about the
Whatever
redevelopment
else you got,
plan.
George? Yep, go for it. Mhm.
The redevelopment plan here from Neglia is what I'm talking about.
Is the redevelopment plan on the agenda tonight?
Yes, it is. You should know that.
The 510 Chestnut Street redevelopment plan is not on the agenda.
Thank
The
you.
housing element fair share plan endorsement
The
is on the
housing element is part of the redevelopment plan for 510 Chestnut.
It's an overarching plan for affordable housing. The
all-
specifics are not in there.
tying it all into
No,
each other,
no, no,
no.
no. The designation for whether or not it qualifies for redevelopment is not in that plan.
All right,
But
so
whatever,
getting
what
back
else
to
you
what I
got?
was saying, she said also that we should knock down the building because the pinstriping for the parking lot are faded,
Okay,
which, I mean, it's just a can of paint, and it's not faded, as you can see. So
right.
why are we knocking down a building over a $2,000 fix?
Nobody's knocking down anything. This is,
Why are you bringing this up and calculating the amount of apartments? You even got to the point where you're calculating how many bikes are going to be stored in this place.
because that's
Why
the
are
way
we
redevelopment
calculating
works.
these things?
Because you say what could potentially be there. If the board decides to sell it, that's what could be there. If not, nothing happens.
But why are we spending $30,000 then for something that's just
Ultimately,
Because we have a state obligation to build affordable housing.
And
And if we're going to build affordable housing, we should build it in a smart place. And by the train station is a smart place.
and
I understand we still haven't, please, again, really. The Board of Ed, you should go to the Board of Ed meetings then, if you want some schools. Please.
anything else, George?
Incorrect, totally incorrect. Wrong, please. Yeah.
George, anything else?
Sewer payment. We made a double payment last year because of the sewer, correct?
Yes.
All right.
No, well, it's a double payment. It was one payment broken up into two separate payments.
Correct.
Yes.
For the lawsuit,
For the lawsuit,
which
yep.
we ended up getting the money from the state for.
Yes, but not to cover the entire cost of the lawsuit.
So what was the settled amount to the lawsuit? Being that we made that one lump sum payment, what was the amount that Elizabeth settled for?
What was the final settlement? No, we got a little knocked off because we did the lump sum.
Yeah, but I'm saying that was part of the first payment, got now.
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, so again, we only got $3 million, right? Which is great that we got it.
But can we go back? What's the answer? Well, how much did we pay Elizabeth for the lawsuit settlement?
I don't want to quote you the wrong number, so I can't tell you right now.
Was it over $3 million?
Yes, it was over $3 million.
Total settlement is over $3 million.
Yes.
Yeah, 4.2, I believe, was the number.
That's because of what? No, but wasn't by law, by the courts, it was 4.2, but then they accepted a lower amount, correct?
Yeah, but it still was over 3. I want to say it was at 4.2. It was 4.2, and then we got it down to like 3.6 from one number. So, but there's still $600K that we had to pay last year in that scenario. And the other thing, George, just again, I know this is confusing, but we also still have to pay ongoing fees now going forward until we disconnect from Elizabeth to Elizabeth.
The
One
reason I bring
is for
that
the
up-
retroactive, the other is going forward.
All right. Well, I'll talk again.
Okay.
You want me to answer the question on the?
No. Anybody else?
It's a race.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mary Ann Brenner, 141 Charlotte Terrace. If you would please hold your comments or your answers until I'm finished with what I have to say. I have a few points to bring up. First point is that I want to remind everyone that Josh, who, really? It is on.
You think you guys could be
Better?
closer? You got to
Yep.
be kind of close.
Okay.
Yep.
That one of the individuals that was given that Rice notice asked for this to be talked about and voted upon in a public session, not in a closed session. So I just want to remind you all of that. And there was a news article on June 16th, which was 3 days after the act of serving the notice to these 6 employees, that the action that was taken was, quote, months, even years in the making, end quote. Yet this is the first action of removing employees. So even though this was talked about, this is the first time that any of us, residents and the workers, were told of this or that this was a possibility to happen. So to say that this was months in the works, that means that some of you sitting here knew that this was going to happen. So were you all aware of this action? I mean, raises were given to individuals who already work for our town, the CFO and the business administrator, so that they could handle the extra workload. So that would then give us more of a tax burden, even though this was going to only be temporary. But this tax burden of the raises stays with us as residents of the town. So if you knew that this was coming, then you knew that this was going to be a burden for us, yet you were still going to move everything over to Kenilworth. As a group agreeing to this contract, that you cannot, quote, compel Kenilworth to accept our workers, yet there is a worker that was moved from the DPW and is working now for the borough of Kenilworth. So why wasn't that person also included in who cannot go to Kenilworth, who was not compelled? This person was a secretary who is now working in Kenilworth. So she is also a union person. So this is a person who, even though it wasn't compelled to do, is doing it. So
There's a current worker that moved to Kenilworth?
the secretary for the DPW that worked at that building is working in Kenilworth.
Right now?
Yes.
Incorrect.
Yes.
Incorrect. Incorrect.
Yes.
False.
Not incorrect. I was forwarded from a phone call and spoke to that person who says they're working in Kenilworth.
False.
So
False,
So that
but okay.
person. Okay. So she doesn't know where she's working. Okay.
Got it.
I'll move on. okay? When most companies who have to downsize their employees, they try to find other ways to do something for their employees. Some of these employees that you just disregarded are residents of your own town. There are people who possibly live here, who want to stay here and work. Why wasn't any of these 6 negotiated? This is a negotiated thing. They want to hire 9 people. They only would have had to hire 3. You could have put in the negotiations. I did contract negotiations for years. One of the stipulations could have been, we have 6 people. You want to hire 9? Now you only have to hire 3. Also, Kenilworth is going to use resources, money, time, and work to reinvestigate and rehire and go through everything of the vetting process that we already did, because you have to hire new people. I mean, I don't understand how we didn't put this into a contract negotiation, that these people could keep this. It would be seen as a savings all around for Kenilworth, for Roselle Park, that these people, this information was already finished and done. Also, another question that I have is reading the contract that came out, is there is absolutely no cap anywhere listed when they say they could possibly have to expand to get the 9 people for their building. They might have to expand and make arrangements and adjustments. There's no cap. What if Kenilworth says, you know what, we have to build a whole nother building and it's going to cost you $1 million? In the contract, it says Roselle Park is on the hook to pay for this, which means we will have to pay for it. All of you who live here and all of these people who live here will have to pay for that, quote, expansion that we don't know, because there is no cap on what Kenilworth can say is the cost of moving all these people there, okay? We're focused on different issues here, and I would say that the Roselle Park residents, we all voted you in. We didn't vote for you to take residents and workers and move them out of a job and say, good luck, hope you don't have to do it again.
Charlene Comar Story, 318 Pershing Avenue, also known as the street that has been killing your car for years. And I don't want to hear it's being redone. It would never be in the condition it's in now if we had a working DPW for the last few years. Plain and simple. Okay, a number of things just to hit on. One of the things I was going to bring up was also why was it not negotiated that our employees would have the first right of refusal, as it were, for a job in Kenilworth. That, to me, should have been part of the negotiations. I do not understand that at all. Before I go any further, I also want to point out that this is on the consent calendar. So you're just going to take these comments and then go ahead and vote? This is, here, we have our little asterisk. Considered to be routine and non-controversial. This is non-controversial?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
It's not.
How did you guys do it? How did you do when you were a councilwoman? You did it differently?
I'm not going to go back and say how we would have
Okay, continue before I use up your time.
Let
Go
me
for it.
finish, because
Please.
you are treating me with the same contempt that you used when you said to somebody, oh, the people on the farm are the same people who are always criticizing me. They still count.
I do have contempt for people who did it worse than we did. I do have contempt for people who kick the can down the road and we had to deal with those issues. I do have contempt for those people, specifically for those people. But go ahead. I don't want to take up your time, Councilwoman.
No, I have a question then. Why do you support the man who was on the council then, and have him come back here?
Some people switched to an independent.
If you have such contempt for them,
yeah,
you tell me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to if you're done. You should have negotiated that hiring.
Yeah.
We have. Okay, you're talking about efficiency. Now, efficiency is great. We should. Nobody opposes efficiency in business. However, well, you're talking about efficiency. You just spent $900,000 across the street here. while you're talking about efficiency, there's here ordinance number 2824, where we are fixing or raising, to be a more honest wording, the salary ranges of non-employees. I mean, a possibility of spending $20,000 for a part-time mayor, when actually it's the administrative people who do the work.
Every one of my budgets was better than yours.
Further, we have here,
Imagine you just put somebody out of the meeting for being disruptive, and you are a citizen public official disrespecting people that put you on.
yeah, well, that's coming up next. Oh,
Please.
no, you're the guy who told me that nobody.
Please, Councilwoman.
About the Constitution.
Go ahead.
I remember you. Okay, authorizing a $10,000 increase to the professional service contract with Garubo and Capisi. Another $10,000. We can add all these things together, and all of a sudden, but we're being efficient? No. Part of the problem is there's a mentality here of running Roselle Park as a business. Running it efficiently and running it as a business are two different things. This is not a business. This is a government. You are doing things like outsourcing part of the DPW's things. Outsourcing kills the middle class. Everybody knows that. This is when...
The mall killed small business, and now the...
Please, come on.
But the...
What's going on right here?
All right, all right, there's that. But there's also the fact that this is a government. This is not a business. You can't just say, well, it's not working out, let's get rid of the DPW. What do we get rid of next? Mayor and council? Might work.
That's why there's elections. Anybody else? I'm seeing no one. Oh, okay, all right.
You should let Andrew address the public instead of you addressing people, sir.
Yeah.
You're very rude and disrespectful.
Got it.
Sir, I know, but you're doing the same thing, right? But you... I'm doing the same thing. Tell the man. I did, and I'm telling you. All right? Please? Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, ma'am.
Jean Wands, 110 East Roselle Avenue, Roselle Park. I, too, am very, very saddened at learning about the DPW. It's disturbing because I do question how much service we are really going to get from Kenilworth. Nothing against Kenilworth, but just wondering. But I'm also wondering, you mentioned that they were going to have a substation in Roselle Park. Where is that going to be? And what are you going to do? What are your plans for the DPW property? Is it going to be redeveloped? Is it going to be another apartment house?
No.
What are your plans for it?
No. The plans as they stand right now are to take down the buildings and use it for equipment storage.
What equipment? We gave it all to Kenilworth.
We did not. We still retain all of our equipment.
What are we putting on that property?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
The same thing we put on the property of the firehouse on...
Continue. Continue.
I'm wondering where our future goes with this. Because it is a change. It's a big change, and changes are difficult.
Yep.
So I'm looking, having lived here a few years, where is our future going? Deep concern. The other thing, if I might, it's a little bit of a sidebar, but if I can, I don't think it's really on the agenda, but I live on East Roselle Avenue, and a year ago, I believe it was, they tore up our streets to do the water lines that they had to do. Fine. Maintenance, I have no disagreement with maintenance. It has to be. It's uncomfortable, it's annoying, but when it's done, it's for the betterment of all. Again, the streets are marked now. They're going to start digging, I gather, for water mains again. Does anybody know what's going on? Where and how?
We do. It's very frustrating.
No sense. This makes no sense.
So that is. Andrew? Do you want to comment on what that is?
So,
I know it too. We could.
Ms. Wands, so generally speaking, what you're more than likely seeing are markouts called in by the water company, not necessarily for digging in the street. What they're doing is they're digging test pits behind the curb first to see if there's lead or galvanized water service lines running from the water main that was put under the street to your home. The first step in that is digging in the grass area that's likely between the curb and the sidewalk or between the curb and your house. They need to call the markouts anytime they dig.
Okay.
So unfortunately, a lot of times when utility companies call for a markout, they don't tell the town, and they're not obligated to tell the town. They don't tell any town. It's what they're required to do by state law before they dig anywhere. So it's not necessarily them excavating the street. They are going to be digging in your area just to verify if there's a lead line.
Okay, so it's on grass property that they will probably be
It's on
digging, not digging up the streets.
99%, but I don't know your particular situation where you live on East Roselle, but generally speaking, there is a lot of that activity happening now.
Okay.
Luckily, the return rate for American Water right now is about 5% on galvanized and lead, so they don't have to dig up as many streets as they originally thought. There'll be more to come when they find out what they exactly what they have to
because
do.
the signs are up for all next week.
Yes.
No parking on the streets, and I thought, no, makes no sense. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Hired by whoever's doing the digging, not the utility company. And I work for the utility company, Joe works for the utility company, he knows that's not true.
Yes, ma'am. Name and address,
Denise
please.
Devon, 617 Filbert Street, Roselle Park, New Jersey.
Thank you.
I've lived in the town for 32 years, and I consider myself an educated resident. I watch the meetings, I ask questions when I need clarity. I've sat in this room many of times where it has been standing room only and watched residents speak passionately about topics that concern all of us. But I can only remember one or two times that I felt our voices were actually heard, from apartments to sewer bills, and tonight's topic for the DPW. The Facebook keyboard warriors blast it with comments, some valid and some not, and when I suggest they come to the meetings to ask the questions, they say, it will never change. Well, they are here tonight. They are here to support the DPW and the service they provide to our residents. When it snows, the sewers get clogged and the trees are down. There has been a significant amount of DPW employees, past and current, that are born and raised in Roselle Park, my son being one of them. And it seems to be the dedication to this town that reaches far past typical employees. Some of them are so dedicated to the town, they volunteer to the fire department as well, going the extra mile to ensure that the residents are protected. That's dedication, but it's not possible to negotiate in a contract that our current staff be retained for their jobs. You can't even tell us tonight what the yearly payroll is, yet you're telling us their savings. So these dedicated employees deserve better than that. And they deserve their voices heard, and they deserve the consideration of being negotiated into that contract. They serve this community in more ways, and they're not recognized for it. It's not right what you're doing.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Cindy Mago, 433 Walnut Street. Just going to ask you to tone it down because I'm not here to fight with you.
Yep.
This is personal for me. My dad was one of the casualties of the DPW. Frankly, I think so was my mother. And ironically enough, today was 7-year anniversary of her death, so I think that this vote today is pretty ironic. I think that you all need to remember, I get that you're up there and you make decisions which you guys think is best, but the residents also aren't stupid. They have an opinion, and you're supposed to be listening to them. And the guys at the DPW, just like my dad, they bust their butt. They're not making this extraordinary salary. They're making minimum, working hard. When it snows, they work 24 hours a day. Sometimes my dad didn't come home for 3 days because he was working overtime day after day and then went right back to work the next day. They're residents of this town, and I think you all need to really think about it before you vote tonight, because sometimes the dollar just isn't as important as keeping our town. We've already gotten rid of the first aid squad. Now we want to get rid of the DPW. We want to sell the sewer. Are we going to get rid of the cops next? We only have a fire department that's volunteer. What is next? We're a small town. At this point, why don't we just sell Roselle Park to Kenilworth and let them run the whole town? You guys all live here. Some of you for your whole life and generations back like me. really think about this. We're a small town and we need to stay Roselle Park, not outsourcing everything to everybody else.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Anybody else? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to accept the reports of departments as submitted?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt, oh, you don't. Yeah, can you read ordinance number 2821 by title?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2821 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Section 3004 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Fences with specific amendments to subsection A thereof. I want to advise the governing body that the matter was referred to the Land Use Board, and after 35 days, they've not opined back with an opinion, so you're free to act and hold a public hearing at this point.
Okay, these are for second, right? Yeah. May I, can I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2821?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak specifically on ordinance number 2821? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion on ordinance number 2821?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2821?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Andrew, please read ordinance number 2822 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2822 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Section 3005 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Driveways with specific amendments to subsection B thereof. Again, this matter was referred to the Municipal Land Use Board. After 35 days, they have not opined, and you're free to hold a public hearing and consider adoption.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on ordinance number 2822?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this ordinance specifically? I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2822?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
May I, Andrew, please read ordinance number 2823 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2823 is an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Section 4, subsection 4.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Recreation Fees Enumerated.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on ordinance number 2823?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on ordinance number 2823? I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Oh, Andrew, please call the roll. Or, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2823?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
May I have, Andrew, please read ordinance number 2824 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2824 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2806, fixing the salary ranges of non-union employees and officials of the Borough of Roselle Park and the County of Union, State of New Jersey.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on ordinance number 2824?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody like to come up and speak on this ordinance? Oh, okay, got somebody.
George Ramirez, 500 East Clay. I'd like to make a suggestion that since Ken Bloom took this raise of $60,000 last year when we did have a DPW, if you guys vote to change our DPW, well, this basically take apart our DPW and move it over to Kenilworth, that Ken Blum give up the $60,000 raise, being that we no longer have a DPW. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else want to come up and speak on this topic?
On the raises that you're giving?
They're not raises.
They're not raises, it's just, All right, so no one, all right. So just for clarity, it is not raises, they are the salary guides, the low and high. That's what it is.
Salary guides for people that what?
Sir, go ahead, just state your name. State your name, sir.
Brian Flynn, 200 West Webster. With the discussion of the DPW, with what we have now with Ordinance 2824, Section 1, if we go to page 13, 8 line down, Superintendent of Public Works, minimum 48,000, maximum 100,000. If we're talking about saving money and closing the department, is that still a line item that is valid, or is that now a disregarded line item that should be removed?
Go for it. Yep, Andrew.
So currently, there is no salary paid for the superintendent of public works by the way this ordinance is written, because we have no employee in the capacity of superintendent of public works.
Okay.
So as of right now, currently, that's an inactive line. Could
Okay.
be removed. A lot of times, it's kept on as an administrative function so that it can be referenced in the future if it's ever needed. But it could be eliminated. It's the prerogative of the governing body.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlene Story, 318 Pershing Avenue. I have a question. May I address a question to the lawyer?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Okay. Now, you say that these are simply guidelines. Are the minimums and the maximums more than they were in the past?
As you know, they do go up.
Are they? I'm asking
Yes,
you
how
yes
far
or no.
past would you
Yes
like
or
to go?
no?
Yes.
They are. Why would we need to raise them if it didn't mean that at some point in time, the salaries will go up?
Did you not hear the last answer to the last question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so the gentleman asked about a specific line item that no one actually occupies. So whether that number went up or down or sideways, it's not being paid. This is the guide and the range that allows the borough.
Which will affect
Ma'am,
salaries in the future, yes?
Only if those people get hired for those positions, this allows and authorizes the government to pay those
So
things.
you're talking about
You know the
paying
answer
more-
already, but
Yes, I
thank you.
do know the answer, but I want to be sure that everybody sitting here understands the answer, because none of you have explained it to them, that this means more pay for these people at some point.
Correct,
Maybe
but
next
not
week.
today.
Maybe next week.
Maybe next year, maybe
Could I
2
just-
years, maybe 3
I
years.
just-
Thank you, ma'am.
Go for it, Andrew.
Could I just want, I just want to bring clarity, because I want to bring clarity only because this ordinance directly really correlates with the operation of the clerk's office. So we have a retirement pending July 1st, and we have somebody who's in a lower classification position being promoted to a higher classification position. A lot of the salaries that individual holds, which are various, it's broken up between stipends at this point, would roll into one salary, which is the reason for the adjustment. So this individual has 2 separate positions with the town, assigned different tasks for the town, that is being brought under one umbrella when they get elevated to this position. So that is the reason for the salary increase. It's an existing employee that's being moved based on a retirement.
Would anybody else like to come up and speak on this ordinance? Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close the public portion on ordinance number 2824?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
When is the,
Call the roll.
may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2824?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay. May I please have a motion to introduce ordinance 2825 as written and affix a date for second reading as July 16th, 17th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mayor, just for the record, ordinance 2825 is an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Section 12.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park, entitled Time Limited Metered Parking.
Any further discussion?
Need a motion.
Do we have a motion to adopt?
Introduce.
Oh, do we
So
have a
moved.
motion to introduce? Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Uh,
Any discussion?
Call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Ravina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance from 2826 as written and a fixed date for second reading as July 17th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, for the record, ordinance 2826 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 24.3 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Police Department Established.
Any further discussion?
Need a motion? Oh, you have a motion.
Isn't there a motion on the table?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. So call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Ravina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
All matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Please read all resolutions.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 18625 is authorizing a shared services agreement between the Borough of Roselle Park and the Borough of Kenilworth for public works services. Resolution 18725 is authorizing and directing the Chief Administrative Officer to institute a layoff action, including 5 employees within the Department of Public Works. Resolution 18825 is authorizing and directing the Chief Administrative Officer to institute a layoff action, including 1 employee within the Department of Public Works. Resolution 18925 is awarding a contract to SJC Lawn Care, Inc. pursuant to the base bid and optional bid A for the Project 2025 Tree Planting Program, Phase 1, in an amount not to exceed $32,150. Resolution 19025 is accepting the retirement of Michelle Boff from the position of Violations Clerk. Resolution 19125 is authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to issue interim payments during July and August 2025 to ensure the continuity of government operations. Resolution 19225 is waiving permit requirements and fees established in Section 4-10 of the Municipal Code for peddlers participating in any public events hosted or co-hosted by the Borough of Roselle Park during calendar year 2025. Resolution 19325 is awarding a professional services contract to the Neglia Group for professional engineering services, including surveying, design, and construction management for the project improvements to Pershing Avenue in an amount not to exceed $78,290. Resolution 19425 is awarding a contract to Crossroads Paving for the project improvements to Pershing Avenue pursuant to the base bid in an amount not to exceed $493,204.30. Resolution 19525 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-31-17-1, American Legion Post 60, Inc., doing business as American Legion Post 60, Inc., for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 19625 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-31-18-1, West End Community Center, doing business as West End Community Center, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 19725 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-48, Willow KC LLC, doing business as Sun Tavern, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 19825 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-3353, Frenchie's Bar Grill, Inc., doing business as Frenchie's Bar Grill, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 19925 is authorizing renewal of inactive alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-614, Cafe C Roselle Park LLC, a pocket license, for the 2025-2026 licensing term. Resolution 225 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-913, Oldie Dowlings LLC, doing business as Dowlings Irish Pub and Restaurant, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20125 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-106, Ocean Castle, Inc., doing business as Vintage Italian Restaurant and Catering, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20225 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-126, CDR Group LLC, doing business as Casa del Rey, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20325 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-15 2015-5, Liquor 157 LLC, doing business as Deluxe Enterprises, Inc., Deluxe Event Planning and Rentals, LLC, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20425 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-167, Spalanga Food, Inc., doing business as Costa's Restaurante and Pizzeria, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20525 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-4418, Roselle Park Liquors, LLC, doing business as Roselle Park Liquors, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20625 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-4433, Gajani, Inc., doing business as Roselle Park Liquors and Food, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20725 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-4439, Chestnut Street Spirits, LLC, doing business as Roselle Park Wines and Spirits, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 20825 is authorizing closeout of the contract with Portofino Builders, LLC, for the Project 2024 Capital Road Program. Resolution 20925 is endorsing the fourth-round housing element and fair share plan as adopted by the Municipal Land Use Board. Resolution 21025 is authorizing the tax collector to issue a reduction and/or refund totaling $19,028.59 on one property pursuant to the tax court of the state of New Jersey. Resolution 21125 is authorizing a $20,000 increase to the professional services contract with the Neglia Group for professional engineering services for the project NJDEP Tier A MS4 stormwater permit compliance measures, reflecting a revised contract amount not to exceed $40,000. Resolution 21225 is authorizing a $10,000 increase to the professional services contract with Garubo and Capice PC as labor attorney for the year 2025, reflecting a revised contract amount not to exceed $35,000. Resolution 21325 is authorizing renewal of an inactive alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-3325, Casio's Tavern 2, Inc., doing business as Casio's Tavern 2, for the 25-26 licensing term. Resolution 21425 is authorizing the Borough Clerk to auction unclaimed vehicles. Resolution 21525 is authorizing the tax collector to issue a refund and a reduction and/or refund on 4 sewer utility bills in the total amount of $4,590. And Resolution 21625 is requiring community benefits agreements in connection with financial agreements pilots under NJSA 48:20-1 within the Borough of Roselle Park.
Okay, I think it's safe to assume we're pulling 186, 187, 188. I will also pull 198. Does anybody wish to pull anything else?
209.
209?
And Mayor, 216.
Yes, sir.
Was it 216?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
So we have 186, 187, 188, 198, 209, and 216 as pulled.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the remaining resolutions on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt resolution 186-25?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Okay, I'll go first. Let me see. First question I have is, if the employees are laid off tonight, do we continue to pay them in benefits or like the rise notice, or are they completely off the payroll?
I believe the handbook states that for layoffs, 45 days.
So just to be clear, if approved, not part of this resolution, but the 2 subsequent ones, the layoff would be effective August 9th. So the last day on payroll would be August 8th.
August 8th. So it will continue.
It's stipulated in the resolution.
So even after, okay, that makes sense. Let me see. If this is passed tonight, when does the Kenilworth DPW or merger, or I guess it's not a merger, but when do they start working for us?
July 1st?
Yes, July 1st. So from today's date, June 19, till July 1st, we only have 1 employee?
Yeah, but so let's discuss what services are done, right? So garbage will still be collected.
Okay.
Right? Bulk waste will still be collected, right? We will still have tree service because there's another company that does tree service. We still have downtown cleaning. And then we have, for the other garbage cans around town, we have Suburban, Roselle doing that. So the things that will be not done in that interim are a la carte bulk pickup, which will resume and we're taking calls on. We'll have a backlog after the July 1st date. Potholes, right? But we do have extensive road work going on beyond that, and honestly, most of the roads are pretty fresh at this point. Setting up for events, we have coverage for, and that's really it.
For the events, when you say coverage, who's covering that?
I believe it's going to be a mix of the Kenilworth and, no, it's just the Board of Ed, the school board.
The maintenance staff.
Yep.
Board of Ed?
Yes. But we've done this before when we didn't have adequate staff. Any further questions, Condon?
Yeah, I got a couple, sorry. All right. As far as can you just explain the health benefits of Kenworth, page 23? I believe that they're paying their employees for at least 15 years, who have worked for 15 years, and then have enrolled with 25 years enrollment in the state health benefits. So will this, are we gonna assume the risk and cost of doing with Kenworth?
So,
Tire?
yeah, so Kenilworth is actively, and can I even speak on this?
It's in the contract.
Yeah, so they are actively looking to negotiate with the union to remove that provision.
Okay.
Should they not, if and when that comes up, right? And we have to think about this. So first off, the first term of the shared service is only 5 years, right? So there is a chance that 5 years comes up, it's not working out, we make our own DPW again, we go do it with somebody else, right? There's a situation we never ever see that. I get that a lot. So we may never have to deal with that. A, because they're looking to negotiate out of their contract, and B, because we might have a different partner in 5 years. But yes, there is a provision that if that still stands, we'll share in the costs of whoever has worked for Roselle Park.
So the cost can go up too much after we're agreeing for 1.4, but it could go up depending on whatever we.
In the unlikely event that they cannot negotiate that out of their contract, then yes, if the first person retires in 15 years, potentially.
15 years from now.
15 years from now. Okay. I guess one note. I believe that in-house service would always be better for us, as we saw some of the employees that work for the town. They're from Roselle Park, and they care about the town. And if we go through with this, I think I saw one of the posts on Facebook where there was a garbage can that wasn't picked up, and one of the residents asked if whoever was cleaning up the garbage cans can do that garbage can, and they said, no, it's not my job to clean up that garbage can, which if it was from someone from Roselle Park, they would happily taken care of that because they're from Roselle Park.
Conjon, we haven't had full garbage cans in the past 3 years as you've been councilman?
No, the point is, if there's a garbage can,
yep.
If we're hiring people from Kenworth,
yep.
They don't care as much as people from Roselle Park because they are from Roselle Park, right? So that's a point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any other questions, Conjon?
Yeah.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Can we have order so we can have Councilman speak, please?
Yeah, the one last question I have is, what is the projected cost, savings, or increase over the 5 years compared to maintaining our own DPW service? And do we have this projected by per house? Do we have this number?
So the projection of savings for next year is about $100,000 ballpark.
What is that for per house?
What is $100 per house, Ken? Ballpark.
Not even that.
Get a calculator, buddy, get a calculator.
$305,000 is, just totally drew a blank.
40 bucks?
Okay.
20?
I'll go in the office and get that.
I would like to.
I drew a blank.
I would like to ask to table these until we have the actual numbers. I would like to table these for the next meeting.
Are you done, Councilman? Is that it? Is that a motion to table?
Yeah, I would like to motion.
Can we finish discussion first?
Yeah, I was going to say, go for it. If there's anything else, yeah.
Oh, we could continue on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one statement,
Go for it.
just so I could get it out the way, for resolutions 186, 187, and 188, because I don't know. I think it encompasses and touches upon everything. So, for the record, I wanted to emphasize that I have consistently advocated for pursuing our local Department of Public Works long before any considered conflicts of mine that was hired. In fact, I previously served as a union leader and have always stood for protecting essential services and workers who deliver them. I believe it's my duty to participate in this vote holistically, as it directly impacts the future of services in our community. In line with New Jersey ethics guidance and this borough's past practices, I've respectfully requested, for clarity for everyone, that any matter where I may have a potential conflict be separated into its own resolution for that matter, and that's why you see there's a separate resolution for the DPW employees, where it's 5 and it's 1. And the reason for that is so I could still vote appropriately for the community. So this allows me to abstain where appropriate, while still fulfilling my broader responsibility to represent the residents of my ward and the borough as a whole. My vote reflects not only my long-standing principles, but my commitment to transparency, ethical conduct, and best interests of Roselle Park. So lastly, I just want to say I get no financial gains for this, and there's a reason behind this. Is because there's an employee there that works for Roselle Park, but people think that I can't vote, and I can vote. This community is very small. Everyone is related to everybody. In fact, we got 2 elected officials up here related. If that's the case, we would be abstaining from everything. So I just wanted to say that statement, and at this point, I'm ready to turn it back over to you guys. And basically, this just allows me to vote and protect myself. So if people want to complain, go for it.
Any further discussion?
So, Ken, do you have the number?
Yes, it's about $25.30 for the average house. That's at $253,000.
So, since it's only $25 that we're saving next year, I'd like to make a motion to table this and ask the actual public, not just everyone here, to review if it's even worth it to do this just for $25.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second that, Conjon.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky, you're voting on a motion to table.
No.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello. No. Councilman Robina.
No. No. No.
Councilwoman Lyons.
No.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
4 votes in the affirmative, 4 votes in the negative, 2 in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. The motion on the table is motion to adopt 186-25.
Is there any further discussion? I'm hearing none. Please call the roll.
Councilman, this is a vote on the resolution to adopt. Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
No.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
No.
Councilman Patel.
No.
4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 187-25?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
No.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Rabina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
No.
4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The resolution is adopted.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 188-25?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Abstain.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Rabina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
No.
That's 4 votes in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, 1 abstention. The resolution is adopted.
198.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 198-25?
So moved.
Second.
Yes. Is there any discussion?
I have to abstain on this.
Please call the roll, Andrew.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson. This is a vote on Resolution 198-25.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello
I'm abstaining.
abstains. Councilman Rabina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
5 votes in the affirmative, 1 abstention. The resolution is adopted.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 285 or 208-25?
209.
So moved.
209-25.
So moved.
Second.
Yep. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, can you just go over the resolution and the fair share?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Councilman, so Resolution 209-25 is the 4th round housing element and fair share plan. The plan was reviewed by the Municipal Land Use Board at their meeting, their special meeting on Tuesday. You want me to keep going?
Nope. Pause. Thank you. Time to go. Time to go. Can we remove the final, please? Guys, please, that's enough. Thank you. We're good. Thank you. Sir, you've been warned. We have to remove you now. Thank you. Well, I don't even know where we're at.
Let me know when you want me to.
Yeah, was there any discussion on this?
Yeah, no, I'm just. I'm
Yes, I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Andrew's probably going to explain it.
Greg,
so-
can you just?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you just wait on a minute? Can you just explain the entire resolution and then we'll go?
So what this resolution does is it endorses the housing element and fair share plan, which was adopted by the Municipal Land Use Board on Monday. Candidly, this is a little bit of a formality because what the housing element and fair share plan is technically an amendment to the master plan. That was required because there's a 4th round obligation for affordable housing throughout the state. The municipal planner put together with our affordable housing attorney the housing element and fair share plan. It sets out our plan to achieve our affordable housing goals and obligations over the next 10 years. So that really, broadly speaking, is what encompasses the plan. That's what this is, right? You're endorsing what the Municipal Land Use Board adopted on Monday, saying that you understand that this is what has been adopted by the municipality through its land use board.
Got it. And then how many apartments or affordable apartments? I see we're gonna have required to build 75.
So there's two obligations that the municipality has. There's the rehabilitation need, which will be run through our rehabilitation program and other rehabilitation programs. The Union County has one, which we kind of piggyback on as a municipality within the county, and then we have our own municipal rehab program. The 75 prospective need, which is the prospective need of affordable housing in Roselle Park. That is achieved through development projects in part. There is group home projects. Some are pre-existing, so we do have a group home in municipalities that we get credits for. We also have credits for some of the things that we were able to achieve in the 3rd round. So things like the Fernmore Development Project, right, which was part of a builder's remedy lawsuit back in 2008, 2009, there are already affordable housing units there. So we receive credits for those. So it's not necessarily as easy as saying the municipality has to somehow spur 75 additional units. It's a combination of actual units built and credits. So the way the municipality achieves compliance is by adopting a plan and executing on that plan to the best of its ability to spur development, to encourage, whether it's group homes, rehabilitation, whatever the case is, to get there. Now, there are situations where there are projects in this plan may or may not come to fruition. If they don't, if they become not viable, what that will prompt is a review of the housing element and fair share plan. It'll prompt the municipal planner to go back and review and suggest an amendment to the plan. It'll go back to the planning board. There will be a public hearing. It'll come back to the mayor and council for an endorsement, an acknowledgement of understanding, and then it gets filed with the court.
Got it. So, for example, on page 65 of the agenda, Part C, we're saying 404, 450 West Westfield Avenue. We're gonna say total residential units is 218. Is this the one?
That is the Fernmore project. That's my place of first radio.
Okay, so this is my. So this counts as a credit to the 75.
Correct.
Okay. Yep. And then for the 125 West Westfield Avenue, is that the one next to La Casa del Rey?
Yeah, that one's not come up. We kicked that one back. That one was, we were talking about a mixed-use project. The current idea, which hasn't been proposed to council, the newest one, would be a specific senior affordable housing building.
But I believe that we took the entire, and we said that we're not going to do any residential units. So do we have to amend or change the redevelopment plan?
We would adopt a new plan. Yeah. And the plan as it's being proposed, right, would be specifically restricted to 55 plus.
So, and then last is 510 Chestnut Street. That's a BOE building.
Yep.
So, and is there any update with the BOE? Are they switching buildings or no?
I don't know, but what I will say is, so the plan can be amended, right? So should that one not go forward, we could always update the plan, replace it with a new project, right? So none of these are necessarily set in stone. This being on the fair share housing plan does not mean that anybody's obligated to do it.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I have a couple myself. Andrew, I just want to make sure we're not locked into the 75 right here, right? We still are able to appeal, like, for lowering that number.
So based on what the potential is of the project, so the answer to your question is yes. We didn't have to do that because based on what we have kind of in queue, we're able to achieve that number. So in lieu of going to the court and saying, we need to lower this number because we can't achieve it, we can. So the risk in going to the court in our particular situation, given some of the projects that are moving through the queue, so to speak, would be a challenge. So a developer or just another interested party, Fair Share Housing Center, the Builders Association of New Jersey may come forward and say, you do have the potential, there are viable items on the table.
Well, that's what lead me to my next thing. I wanted to, and I will make a move. I wanted to move to amend this resolution to add the following wording. I feel like this will protect us more. You guys, it's up to you guys. Because I do understand the affordable housing component. It's a state mandate. It's not something that I don't care who sits up here, whether it's Trump, Obama, whoever's your favorite elected official. It's a state mandate. There's different levels of government for a reason, and so the municipality doesn't have absolute power, and unfortunately we have to follow this unless we're going to fight the state, and that would be where you guys would have to go to Trenton for that. But I would like to put in wording that will kind of protect us. If possible, I would like to say this plan is supported with the understanding that the borough keeps the right to ask for changes to the affordable housing number, such as land or infrastructure limits as allowed by state law. This resolution does not prevent the borough from making future changes to zoning, redevelopment, or financial agreements if needed. I feel like if we put that in there, we'll still be able to, if later on, be able to mitigate the 75 units, because I think everyone up here, no one wants to build the 75 units of affordable housing, but it's a state mandate, and we would like to get that number lower. So I just want to make sure this type of wording is put into this resolution, so there won't be anything down the line that'll bind us.
There's no objection to that.
No, I know. That's why I got my MPA. I know.
Do you have that written out?
Yes, I have it written out. I can
All right,
easily
perfect.
pass it.
No, just give that to Andrew.
Sorry.
Thank you. Councilman, sorry. If I could just know where you want it.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
I'm assuming it's a whereas? or
Yeah,
is it-
whereas. It's a whereas.
So it's
Probably, Andrew, probably 3 up from the bottom, now therefore.
So after, in accordance with the amended fair share,
Yeah,
FHA,
right above that one.
above that.
Yeah.
Go with that. I just want to make sure we can amend it if possible.
So the fourth to last whereas clause
That's
will
fine.
be, John, I'm just going to read it again, is this plan is supported with the understanding that the borough keeps the right to ask for changes to its allowable numbers, such as land or infrastructure limits as allowed by state law, and the resolution does not prevent the borough from making future changes to zoning, redevelopment, or financial agreements if needed. And then it'll say, and whereas, in accordance with.
Yes.
So that's the motion by Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's no discussion on that.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
You have it on an amendment.
Okay. Yeah, so,
I just need a motion, I need a roll call on the amendment.
yep, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The amendment is agreed to. Need a motion to adopt as amended.
Do you have a motion to adopt
just a-
as amended? Oh,
sorry.
did you have a question, another question? Go ahead.
Just a last comment. I know this is something that we're endorsing, and I don't think that we should be even endorsing more apartments. So that's just my last comment.
Okay. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
I need a motion on the.
Oh, yeah, do you have,
motion as amended.
do you have a motion on as amended?
So moved. Sorry.
No, no worries. No worries.
Pick your moved.
She can have it. I already amended it, so that's fine.
Okay. Please
Okay.
please call the roll.
This motion to adopt is amended. Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
No.
5 votes in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The resolution is adopted.
Okay, I think it's the last one's 2016, right?
2016.
Yeah. 216. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 216-25?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, just briefly. I won't belabor this. I'm sorry. The reason for this resolution is since the state is mandating us to do a lot of apartments, and for some reason people are not seeming to understand that we're almost locked in. I too don't want apartments either, but at some point we have to fulfill the affordable housing mandate. So my thought was to get the most for the community. By putting this CBA, which is called a Community Benefits Agreement, it takes away the feel good. No longer are we are negotiating with developers. We're telling them that you have to do a community benefit if you want to build here in Roselle Park. If the state is going to mandate us, you have to do something for the schools. You have to do something for the community. You have to spend some type of money or some sort of recompense for the community, since you're going to be bombarding us with increasing of people, labor, taxes, schools, inflations, etc. So I just feel like this is, I can't see anybody voting no on a community benefit that benefits the community. I feel like this is a nonpartisan vote, and I hope to get everybody from mayor and council support. This basically tells the developers or whoever's negotiating, you don't have the right to negotiate. They have to come with a community benefit on the application, and the governing body gets to vote on that. So.
It's a good idea, Councilman. I agree. I think the two things that made life easier is by ordinance, having the 20% affordable set aside, and then having this, it just doesn't leave it to negotiation.
I just think it's a win-win for the borough.
Yep, good idea.
And for the schools.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
Okay, reports of Borough Council and committees. We'll start off with Councilman Signorella.
The meeting's going on long tonight. I'm just gonna, if you need to get a hold of me for any questions, been doing this for a long time, 908-721-6488, or email me. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Johnson?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, residents, mayor, council, residents. Just a few community updates to share. At this time, Avon and Berwyn infrastructure projects have finally concluded. Next on the first ward list that is pending is Persian. Sometime coming up, we'll find out. Updates will follow. And Charlotte Terrace is one of the streets that were still under the half paved rule, and this is backlog that we need to get resolved and fix up. So if I'm correct, we should be submitting a grant for the, Charlotte Terrace by the end of the
Charlotte and Bridge Street.
And Bridge Street, yeah, but I'm only talking about First Ward.
I got you.
In response to our community feedback and the need to better balance residents' access during temporary disruptions, at this time, I'm working on a resolution for the next governing body meeting, which is a community courtesy parking policy during infrastructure improvements for minor parking infrastructure. This policy aims to provide parking enforcement relief for residents affected by borough-approved roadwork or services closures, whether it be utilities as well. So anytime someone decides to close up the road, during these past few projects, progress is an inconvenience, but so is potholes. However, I have been listening to the community, and some of my residents have reached out to me about them getting tickets when we are closing down certain roadways and forcing residents to not have any parking. So I feel like at some point we can't tell law enforcement to have discretion. As a legislator, I want to effectuate law to add one more step before that discretion, so we can make sure residents get relief and will not be getting ticketed and towed and things of that nature. This policy, more will be about it, explain about it online and on before the next meeting, and I just hope to have the rest of council support, because sometimes we need to listen to the community, and exactly like one of the residents said, you don't run government like a business. Government is ran completely different. So with that being said, be on the lookout for a resolution to help mitigate those residents that were getting tickets. I'm trying to prevent that, where it forces them to have what's called a community courtesy discretion. Prior to even officers being able to have a discretion, they have to warn the resident. So that's what I'm trying to do, and it should be lawful. I'm ready to take on any challenges legally. On another note, Juneteenth will be this Saturday, June 21st, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Michael Morey Gazebo Park. Your Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be hosting a vibrant Juneteenth celebration for all to enjoy. So please come out, join us as we come together to honor this meaningful day with live music, delicious food, wine garden, local vendors, games, and more. It's time to celebrate freedom, culture, and unity right here in Roselle Park. We hope to see everyone there. Lastly, a heartfelt congratulations to Roselle Park Class of 2025 seniors. Your hard work, resilience, and dedication have brought you to this incredible milestone. As you close this chapter and step boldly into the next, know your community stands behind you, proud and inspired by all you have accomplished. The future is yours. Go make it extraordinary. Congratulations once again. As summer approaches, I'd like to wish all of Roselle Park families a joyful and relaxful season ahead. Your voice matters, and it is my pleasure to serve. So if anyone needs to get in contact with me, please email me at gjohnson@rosellepark.net or 908-303-1519. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Petrosky.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to send my condolences out to Martin Story family. He was involved in Little League many, many years, and he took on probably one of the hardest jobs down there was the umpire-in-chief. And back then, it was very hard to get umpires, and Marty was down there almost every day umpiring. So my condolences go out to his family. On June 11th, I attended the recreation meeting. Tomorrow night, 6/20/25, at 6:30 at Gazebo parking lot. They're going to have a summer kickoff. There's going to be ice pops, bubbles, and music and fun. It'll be from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, okay? If you need to contact me, you can get me at jpetrosky@Roselle Park. rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
Good evening, Mayor and residents and council. Just because it's such a highly emotional night, I don't have a report. If you need to reach me, 908-726-8773 or rlyons@rosellepark.net.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Patel?
Same. I have no report.
Okay. Councilman Rabina?
Same, Mayor.
Okay. I'll bite the bullet and make some comments then. There's a couple things that I want to mention. Thank you all for your report. And we don't have to agree here in this room. I understand that. There's probably a lot that people don't agree with my 7 years as mayor. But there's a couple things that I just need to dispel, right? So as far as what we do here on council, we work for 14,000 people, right? We do not work for just one department. We do the best thing in the interest of what we see for 14,000 people. We might not agree with that, we might disagree with that, and these are hard decisions. Nobody likes these, they're not fun. But at the end of the day, I want to show people a little bit behind the scenes of what happens in Roselle Park. So every year we have a 2% budget cap, right? We can only increase our budget 2% year over year. Since COVID, we've been getting whacked by garbage bills, by recycling bills, because China stopped taking our recycling. We've been getting hit because of medical bills. We've been getting hit because of insurance bills. Every year that eats up that 2% cap that we have to stay under, right? So when people talk about good budgets, yep, I'm proud of all the budgets we've had. Part of them is because we haven't been legally allowed to increase the budget because of that 2% cap. As a matter of fact, last year, we couldn't hire any more DPW people just because of that cap. As a matter of fact, the only other options we would have is laying off the people that we have working in the finance department, which is already thin, working in the clerk department, which is already thin. Lord knows I'm not firing any cops. I want to hire more cops. So there's a lot that goes into this, right? Like, this is not some binary thing where I could just wave a magic wand and hire more people. This is the fiscally responsible answer. This is both pro-union and pro-government. We are not contracting with a private entity. I'm not privatizing the DPW. We're not putting this out to, Joe Blow contractor. This is with another government, with another union that will actually employ more union members than we have currently in the Department of Public Works. And I would argue form a stronger union. So look, we don't have to agree on that. There's a lot of things that I think people need to understand, and change is hard. I truly feel like once we have things up and running, services will be strong and we will have a more resilient bench, right? When there is an emergency in Roselle Park, God forbid, we do not just have our DPW, we have a pool of one shared department to work on, right? We have a pool of resources to take, and we have somebody to share the costs with. This is the more efficient option, and I truly feel like people will be happy with the results at the end of the day. Thank you. May I have a motion to open the public portion on any subject matter?
So moved.
Second.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
So a couple things. I mean, last time I've seen a crowd like this here.
George, just
for the
for
marijuana.
You have to-
Just for the 500 East
Thank
Clay.
you.
Was for the marijuana issue, which Mr. Johnson said that we have different levels of government for a reason. The marijuana issue, you guys have a big lawsuit on your hands coming soon, being that what you approved is against federal law. All right, we have different levels of law. We have ordinances, we have state law. What trumps everything is federal law. You guys approved a dispensary within 1,000 feet of 3 schools, a preschool, a youth center, a park, and a church. All right, so that's one lawsuit that's coming through. You guys are about to get sued like crazy from this other lawsuit now from the DPW. Over $100,000 savings. You were ready to spend $150,000 for a statue. And now you're talking about $100,000 savings, and that's if it stays at 1.4, where if you take your past referendum here, you've been spending money like crazy. Every time you say, I'm going to keep something at a certain amount, you pass another ordinance and raise the amount. So if you want to say that, put something in paper that says it guarantees it at 1.4. Because I can guarantee you within 6 months, that 1.4 is going to probably be at 1.8. All right? As far as what other things you have going on, it's a little speculative of why you're doing this now and why it's happening now. It's not because you guys wanted to save money. It's because these guys opened up their mouth about their working conditions. There was benzene found at this place. There's people dying of cancer, asbestos. They opened up their mouth, and now they're being fired. That's the plain truth of why this is happening. All right? That's why this is happening. All right?
The only thing I'll
For a $25 per household savings, the apartments are bringing in $1 million right now, which they're not at full capacity.
Yep.
Right now, we have $1 million that we're all paying for here for the 42 students that are coming in from these apartments. And they're not at full capacity. They still need another 40% of capacity, which means, if you go by the numbers, there's going to be about 80 students to 100 students coming from these apartments. At $22,000 per student, that's a $2.2 million increase that we all have to take on. Because just like you didn't want to give any of the pilot money, the $1.5 million, to the schools, we're all paying for that now. So you just ruined these people's lives. You ruined the town over $25 household savings. You should be ashamed of yourself. All of you. All of you. All of you.
Anybody else?
And some people here can't raise their eyes and really see these people. And you say, we got to stand up for our veterans and our citizens. It's all shit. I mean, nobody can believe you. You have your nice quotes that you come up with and your inspirational quotes, but at the end of the day, it's what actions, not words. Actions speak louder than words.
I'm going to make this quick. Ryan Urban, 1901 Elizabeth Ave, Rawway. As you said, your bills are going up. So are the gentlemen that just got laid off. So tonight I watched a backstabbing of fathers, brothers, sons, past members that have passed away, brother firefighters, and fellow union members. I want to come on the record, and I want to thank you, Conjon, and I want to thank you, Greg, for standing up for these people. And Mr. Mayor, I spoke to you on a phone call. You know which phone call. And I stepped away from my family to speak to you on the phone that night.
Yep, I appreciate it.
And you said, and I told you my concerns that we're losing a small town feeling.
Yep.
I'm here to tell you again, we're losing a small town feeling. And, it's sad. It's sad because I had a realtor. I was looking at houses. And I wanted to move back to town because it was a small town feeling. And I thought that a lot of you were good. And Andrew, you were always good to me. And, you know, like John DeVito said earlier, Andrew said the same to me when I left here. I was better than this town. And I said to Andrew, no, I'm not. I'm not going to spend my sick time. I'm not going to call out sick on my last 2 weeks. I'm not going to do that because I care for this town. And that's what these DPW guys are about. $25 a house, it came down to. And these guys are now out of a job. And the disrespect to the residents tonight, you know, is upsetting. I get it. It's a tense night. It's a tense night to all of us. And, you know, you guys are elected officials, and these people voted you in. So, again, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, and I take another round of applause for those two gentlemen.
I have no idea.
Jean Wands, Roselle Avenue. My statements are not as poignant as the ones you've heard tonight, but my question is real. I live at the junction of Prospect and Roselle. Several weeks ago, we had a sunken manhole. It was noted to the DPW. They came out and they put out the 3 cones around it. It's still there. It needs to be dealt with because it's not a safe situation at all. Who's going to do it? Who's going to be in charge of that piece of real estate that people drive around every day and it makes it a little difficult? Who do we call? Do we call Kenilworth? Do we tell you? It's been noted. We have the cones from Roselle Park. I appreciate your thought about the grass because we assumed, well, if they're going to be digging up the street, they're probably going to encompass this into this. Apparently, that's not going to be the situation. What happens? Who do we call? Who do we tell?
So, you want me to respond?
Yeah, go for it.
So in that particular case, it is known by engineering. There is an issue at that particular manhole. It is being worked through at this point, trying to design a fix for. I don't have an answer for you of when it's going to be done. You can continue to call DPW. You can continue to call Borough Hall, and it's certainly my office. I speak to the engineers almost every day, unfortunately. And that will be, the particular issue you're talking about near your home will be rectified, and it's being tracked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mike Ryan, 515 Locust Street, Roselle Park. Being at this meeting, I didn't intend to speak tonight, but being at this meeting reminded me of when my mother was mayor. When my mother was mayor, she attempted to close one of the fire halls. And she was not only demonized, she was attacked over it. And I don't think she should have been attacked, and I don't think you should be attacked either. I'm grateful that there are people that are willing to stand in a line of fire, and I don't know whether my mother's decision or what she was pursuing, I know she was doing it for fiscal reasons. I don't know whether that was right or wrong, and I'm not saying what the decisions that you're making are, I'm in favor or against. I want to thank you for being in a line of fire, and I wish you the wisdom to make the right decisions.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Hello again, Joshua Regan, 231 Sherman Avenue. First of all, I want to say thank you, Councilman Patel and Councilman Johnson, for making the right choice tonight. You really are representing us as residents, and I just want to show appreciation for that. The second thing I want to address, and I really don't think that's right, is I've seen at a couple meetings the borough attorney is very rude to residents for no reason. I don't think that's right. I don't think any of you up there should be rude to any residents. I think that it's perfectly fine talking and being respectful to each other, but I don't see any reason why someone up there should be rude at all. So I just want to address that. I think we could fix that. I think we just need to slow down and talk before we act. Slow down and think before we act. It's just, I've always grown up in this town, and everyone's been very nice. It's never been like that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Charlene Story, 318 Pershing Avenue. I have a couple of questions which are off the main topic tonight, but I almost feel guilty changing the topic, but some things should also be addressed. I am wondering if we are still, going back to the affordable housing, I am wondering if we are still offering help to residents under certain income levels,
Yes.
and whether that is still being able to be applied. I know there's been a number of court cases and so
Yes.
on. Is that still able to be applied toward our obligation?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Our rehabilitation obligation, just to be
Right.
clear.
And I would encourage more publicity on that. I don't think most people in this town know that that's available. So I would encourage that. And then if I can address a question to
You may.
to Councilman Patel, if we don't do it through apartments, and I understand that people feel enough, how would you meet these obligations? Because towns, lots of towns, Milburn has tried, is still involved in court cases. They're getting nowhere. The courts are saying, you got to do these things. And in some cases, like in Milburn, they're saying you got to do it where we're telling you to do it, right in the middle of downtown. How else can we meet these obligations if we don't do it this way?
I honestly don't know, but this is heavily, it only benefits the developer, right? Like all these stuff that is coming in, it's only benefiting the developer. The town doesn't benefit in most cases with nothing.
But that's really irrelevant when we have a court order saying we got to do this.
And it already happened historically here in Roselle Park. You don't even have to go far. Joe DiOrio, the mayor, Romanowski, they got sued. I don't know why people don't understand that. If the states say we have to do it, we have to do it. We could cry about it. I don't want it either. Like, I don't understand what people don't understand about that.
I understand that nobody wants more apartments, but then there has to be some other way, because we have to meet these obligations, and we will be fined, and it's going to cost us money.
Fined and sued.
So I just kind of wanted to make that point. I also have a question. Is the borough considering any other shared services deals?
The only one that is a little bit in flux right now is can we talk about the
Fire prevention.
Fire prevention? Yeah, so fire prevention, we actually just had a conversation with the state about that, so fire prevention is the only other one.
Okay. All of these problems go back to the fact that we're small.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the bottom line. We're small. We can't, and as prices go up, we can't, garbage collection has always been a problem. Why do we pay so much? Because nobody wants to be bothered with Roselle Park, so we don't have a whole lot of choices. You know, there's a million different things like that, and I understand that. So my question is, what do we do from there? Are there things that the town is considering and that we, the residents, should know about? Because I think that's the big question that residents have to look at. You know, what the heck is happening here? Are we going to lose all these things? Is it worth us to pay more in taxes so that we can keep that small town feel, or is it not? I don't know what the answer is to that. But the bottom line is that we need to be really kept up to date all the time on what's going on, and not everybody can come to every meeting. People have kids that have to be put to bed. People have jobs where they don't get home from maybe Manhattan. People need to, whether it's by social media or whatever, people need to know what's our situation so that we don't feel like, oh my God, you know, how did this happen? Because you cannot always be sitting here.
Thank you, Charlene. You can come, you got it. Is there anybody else before we go back to for a second? Anybody else? You can come approach if you'd like to ask another question. Again, just name and...
George Ramirez, 500 East Clay. It's my understanding we have 10 years to come up with this affordable housing, right?
Yes.
So why are we rushing to do it now?
You still need to have identified projects in the plan.
Yeah, it's 10 years to fulfill the plan, but the state put very strict guidelines. So by July, you needed to adopt this, and then by next March, you need to see if you can institute zoning to implement that plan, and then the plan gets implemented. But what the mayor has indicated, and everyone has said all along, it will more than likely get amended many times, right? So what you put forth tonight will change. It just will over 10 years.
And we did amend it to put in a clause to try to protect us just in case. That was the whole purpose of me amending that.
But to your point, the reason why you had to do it today is the same reason every town and municipality in the state of New Jersey is having the same discussions with their same residents in the month of June about adopting these types of plans.
For the record, we asked for an extension, which was denied as well, which was not fun.
It was denied by the court with everyone.
All right.
All right? That's just what it is, George.
Any further? Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.